Welcome to another episode of Adding Perspective with Josh. I'm Josh.
I'm Coach Nrgy.
I'm Aphrodite.
All right. This week we're gonna talk about a little vulnerability. Why can't now. Oh wait. Oh, all right now. All right. Y'all ready to start now?
So on the chain. So on the chain.
Oh gosh.
But we're gonna talk about vulnerability. So why is it difficult sometimes to be vulnerable from a relationship standpoint with your partner? And you know that topic is it can go a lot of ways with that. I think vulnerability is something that depending on the subject matter, I think it makes it a little bit difficult to express how you really feel.
Right.
About certain things. And most times I would say from a guy's standpoint, anything sexual is vulnerable. Anything. Like it don't matter what it is. Like just anything, okay? Especially if it's like performance based. No. Okay, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Oh Lord.
I'm just saying.
Why is that?
Huh? It's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. Like it is. Like, you know, I'm not sure if it's the same way for women, but nobody wants to hear that they're not up to par on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Some people.
I can see that.
Okay, so I'll go with something.
Because some people do ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people do ask, but you know, you got to hear what that reply is, right? Like you got to hear what that person says, and then you got to either A, be like, oh, okay, that's constructive criticism, or B, just go off, okay? just go off. Like that's the thing. Sometimes it's hard to hear constructive criticism, even if you ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's more of the delivery, I think, and then also the tone of it, right? Like the tone and delivery of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
But I think that this vulnerability thing is like, I think that sometimes when we talk about really vulnerability, I think that it all stems from, you know, how people have expressed vulnerability in the past, per se. Like whether that, you know, how they were brought up around people that, you know, didn't talk about like feelings and like emotions and how to actually express that kind of stuff. It makes them harder to express emotions when they get older like that. Yeah. Then sometimes people don't go back and try to learn how to express, you know, the softer side of them, you know, right?
Right.
So when we talk about vulnerability and stuff like that, why do you guys think that it's kind of hard for people to, you know, be that way, right? Like express that side of it.
Sometimes it might be a trust issue to be vulnerable to that person in the relationship. They might have broken whatever kind of trust that they had of being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? It might have been one day they was having bedroom talk or whatever, and the bedroom talk got out to somebody else, and it's like, no, there's like I was vulnerable to you at that time. So why would you, you know, go and disclose what me and you talking about? You know, and it sets up a wall between them and trying to be vulnerable and open to your mate about things. And it could be also depending on how their communication has been when it comes down to being vulnerable, because sometimes even being vulnerable, you have to check your nonverbal and your verbal communication.
Yeah.
You know, and even with that being said, people read your nonverbal just like they read your verbal. So it's like, oh, so they might have took it as they wasn't really interested. They might have took it as to them it was very important, but to the person they was speaking to wasn't important. So they felt like it was unimportant. I mean, it could go a lot of ways why being vulnerable could stop or even not even start, because of course you said stemming from childhood, sometimes you might not know the softer side of yourself to be vulnerable. Or it could be, it could be just a host of things, just like on vulnerability alone, and knowing what being vulnerable is and having the sympathy, the empathy to express it.
Yeah, I like that. Like the biggest thing is that facial expression thing. It is. Because it'll stop you from saying a lot of stuff, right? Like it will.
It will.
Because sometimes when you really want to say something that you feel like it's sensitive to you, and you start talking about it, and your partner may start, their eyes might start twitching, or they might start like making some type of facial expression. You change your tune, right? Like you don't even want to talk no more. Like,
you do.
Yeah, that's it. But
Shoot, that's with anyone. It doesn't even have to be your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally having a conversation last night, and we had a difference of opinion on what was the topic. I'm trying to remember the topic, but anyway, I was able to just kind of listen and hear what their perspective and their point of view was, with no sort of change in anything. And then as soon as I started sharing mine, all I saw was like, bro, chill. What's with the eye rolls? Like, what you're doing right now is really disrespectful. I'm like, come on. So then at that point, I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it no more. We're good. I'm good.
I'm guessing the rest of that conversation didn't go well.
Oh, it ended. Yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah. Because you know how, like, when someone now at that point, they're only listening to do a quick response, and then they're not listening to what you're saying. They're so ready to, give feedback. Like, before I could even finish the words out of my mouth, they were ready to go ahead and start their own sentence. And I'm like, but I didn't even finish my point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it caused you to shut down. Like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Because to me, it's just pointless. At that point, it's just like, okay, well, you're not in a place of receiving. So it's just pointless. We can revisit this conversation later, but in this moment right now, you're just not here, So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a waste of time after that.
Yes.
It is. So that brings me to the next thing. When is it a good time to be vulnerable? It's like, is there a good moment to be vulnerable with somebody? Like, do you think that there's like a perfect time to be vulnerable with somebody?
I don't think there's a perfect time. The best way that I could answer that question is by saying it's best to be vulnerable with someone else when you, as that person, are strong enough to handle whatever the feedback will be from what you've just said or delivered to the other person. If it's something that's still really, really gonna send you over the edge, or still so hot or too personal for you, and you're not quite ready to hear what could be the truth as far as feedback or being critiqued, then maybe kind of think twice about it. But at the same time, I hesitate to say that because that can hold a lot of people back from just being honest with something or a person when they really need to, just say it. So I'm really careful about saying that. So there's no real time. I guess it just really also depends on what the topic is. What is the person being vulnerable about? Is it something that's going to affect the other person and the other person needs to know as soon as possible? Or is it just you sharing something and it's not really going to affect the other person, but it's more so really heavy for you then, maybe you can be a little bit more patient with yourself on when you share that. But if it's just at the end of the day, something that the other person needs to know, just say it. Like, you just got to get it out there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think the vulnerability thing has a lot to do with the, like you were saying, the person that you're being vulnerable with. Right. So if this is like one of your friends or family member or something like that, and you want to relay something vulnerable to them, it may not impact them as much as it would somebody that's closer to you.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So it's like, I guess that I always tell people that if you want to be vulnerable with somebody, you have to have that conversation with yourself first. Like, whatever you want to say to them, have that conversation with yourself to make sure that you're okay with it. Like, okay with what is you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people, they don't have that first conversation, and then they just have that first conversation with that person. And then it's like, oh my gosh, they reacted this way, or it happened this way. And it's almost like it's a shutdown thing. Like, you're not going anywhere after that, because again, that first instance it didn't end up the way that you wanted it.
Yep. That's interesting. Never tried that method before.
Yeah. The only reason why I say that is because I utilize that method. Like, I do, okay? I do. I'm sorry. Yes. I do, okay? Like, I utilize that because, like I said, I cannot really expect, I guess, others to understand how I feel, especially from a vulnerability side, because it's like, if you relay something to someone and you're hoping that they understand, you're hoping that they understand what you're going through, how you feel about that particular topic, sometimes that's not the case. Like, sometimes you have to know that they can relate to what you're saying, but they probably wouldn't fully understand what you're saying. Like, right. They're not in your shoes. They don't, they wouldn't know. So you having that first conversation with yourself to make sure that whatever message that you are saying to that person, you're saying that for, I guess, an informational purpose-based type thing, and not really expecting them to fully understand. Mm-hmm. That's essentially why I do that, basically. Because at the end of the day, you want, especially if this person is close to you, you want them to know who you are and how you feel about whatever that situation is. Therefore, you don't want to hold back because you may be afraid of what their reaction might be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shoot, I even take it further. I'm the same way as you, Josh, but I also take it further with, okay, I have the, for lack of a better term, the rehearsal conversation with myself first. And then in that discussion with myself, I don't answer myself, but with that discussion with myself, I also go as far as to say, okay, let me think about as many of the possible outcomes and possible reactions and responses that I may get from what I may share when I'm being vulnerable. So therefore, that's like, it won't be such a surprise, when that person actually responds in one of those ways that I may have already thought about, because I thought about it in advance. It's kind of like trying to prepare for something in advance, but you're coming up with multiple options of, okay, well, they may not take it that way, but they may take it this way, or they could take it this way, so you're kind of preparing yourself. So therefore, when they take it one of those ways, it's not going to hit you as hard. So that helps me whenever I'm talking about things or sharing things with people. I try to think about all the various outcomes, both good and bad. So therefore, when it actually happens, I'm not as surprised because I said, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I can understand them reacting that way because I already thought of it as being a possibility. What, Josh?
That's a lot of extra thought. I like it. Okay. Hey, I like it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Good method.
It's so Look, you do the work in advance, so therefore, when the time actually comes, it's exactly like the hard work is already done.
Hey, I knew your process was extra thorough. I knew it. Okay? I knew it. That's why. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Okay, I knew it was another step to it. I knew it. Okay.
He's so silly.
He's definitely there. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, try it. Just try it one day.
Yeah. I need.
Then the blow isn't as hard.
I guess it depends on the person, but I still feel like depending on what message you're trying to relay, the blow is still gonna be hard.
Sure.
But she said as hard.
As hard. Thank you.
In the end, it's not as hard.
What if you don't like pain? Like what if you don't like the pain of whatever that reaction is?
I mean, but if you have did any thorough conversation with yourself, like Nrgy did, you already self-inflicted some of the pain, so you can stand whatever else come back.
Right. Because then whenever that person responds, however they respond, your thought in that moment is going to be more of, okay, I can understand. Like you're more understanding to their response because you even thought of it, you know? So the blow isn't as hard, but hey, it still might hurt, but it ain't gonna hurt as bad.
Yeah.
And you thinking about also you know the person you speaking to, right? Nrgy. So you know who you speaking to. And depending on what the subject is, you pretty much kind of get gauge like how they gonna go. I ain't saying you're gonna hit it on point, but you can kind of gauge it. You can be like, oh, okay, yeah, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't try to fight it.
I'm not trying to fight it. Okay. I'm embracing it. Okay. I'm embracing it. Right
Okay.
now, okay. Like I'm embracing it. I was just thinking to myself, what situations or what scenarios would prevent a person from being vulnerable with another person? Like what scenario would prevent you from wanting to talk to another person?
I'm gonna go. The first one that comes to my mind is even before that specific person and the current relationship or whatever, or the current conversation, it could be something from that person's past, like past experience of being vulnerable and it didn't go so well. Mm-hmm. And they're still holding on to that last experience that wasn't so positive and it didn't feel so good, to where now they're kind of carrying it with them and are like, oh man, is the same thing going to happen again? It kind of prevents them from just being fully open and fully transparent and just saying, oh, well, this is what happened. At least I'm being honest with you. So I would say from a person's past experiences with being vulnerable and maybe just not going well based off of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Other person, it could be even the person that you deal with don't understand. They might think everything is not true or a joke, or what I'm saying, like they really might not take it serious. Yeah. So that's the person who's being vulnerable would just hesitate on it. It's like,
that's so annoying.
You don't understand. Yeah, you don't understand my transparency. Like I'm really being transparent. You telling me I'm lying. I'm being transparent. You think I'm playing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, and I'm being vulnerable to you in this transparency. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I ain't got nothing. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's annoying.
Yeah. So how about those times when you're talking to someone about something and you can tell that they're not paying attention?
Yeah, waste of time. Okay, you know what? Let's reschedule this conversation. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm sorry. Like,
so
I don't like repeating myself either. So
I don't like repeating myself. That aggravates my nerves. I'm not gonna lie. Unless it's really something like, but I think I speak we speak the same language, so I don't like repeating myself, right? Unless you say, like, I really didn't understand what you were saying. Because sometimes, my voice elevates. So, the little squeaky stuff might come out because it elevated. So I get that. But yeah, blatantly not paying me, we don't, that conversation. That's a wrap. And don't come back to me like 10 minutes later. Come on, but let's talk about, no. No. But I'm just saying, like, you want to know something that's very aggravating? You on you on something on your phone, and we supposed to be in like a conversation.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
And then you like, and I'm like, no. Mm-mm. No.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about like if they give that little generic response, like as
yes. Yes. And I'm like, I'm really serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might be really having a crisis at that moment.
Yeah.
And you can even tell, even when you're on the phone with people, like the whole line get very silent. And you be like, what you doing? Oh, I'm over here looking at, okay, I'll call you back. I'll talk to you later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But I got one that's better. Okay. So what about a situation where you're telling a person how you feel about something and they tell you how you should feel about something?
Oh, that's aggravating as heck. now that, oh my gosh. You know, it's crazy. I was just in that situation. Like, literally, I was in that situation the other day. And I ain't gonna tell you all I said, because, but I was hot. I was like, you can't tell me what to feel. What is you? Yeah, I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. We ain't even gotta talk. I'm good. Like, because people do not, it's like, I think with people don't understand. You have to allow them people, that person, they feelings. You cannot tell them, well, I don't understand why would you feel that way? Because it's my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have that? Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that happens often.
Oh, it happens a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
In friendships, relationships, marriages, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Ships. Yeah, it happens.
Situationship, all that shit.
Whatever.
Yeah. All them ships.
All them ships. Yeah.
That's part of it, right? Like, I guess whenever you hear in a person's story or whenever someone is being vulnerable with you and you're choosing to go talk to someone and that person that you want to talk to, if you know that they're one of those people that like to fix things, like when you talk to them, you know that they're a fixer. So you know that when you go talk to them, they always gonna have like 3 or 4 solutions right after you talk to her, right? Like they always gonna have like a stack of things that you could try or a stack of things that you could do, but that ain't why you're going to talk to them. Like you're not going to talk to them for a solution.
So you know how you fix that? It's my person I talk to, right? And I like to talk to them because like they get me a lot. Like they really get me, but they always want to fix me and get me at the same time. So I be like, listen, I don't need that get me person. I don't need to be fixed. Cause I'm just talking to you like I put like I give them that boundary. I don't know what it is, but I be like, listen, I don't need to fix me person. Okay. They be like, but you should. I'm positive. I don't need that fix me person. Cause I'm not gonna try because I ain't asked you to fix me. I ain't even gonna try it. Like I ain't even gonna. So let's not waste that energy. But let me tell you what happened. Or let me tell you what's going on.
So now that we got that out the way.
Let's talk.
Yes. So I
gotta it's crazy. It's crazy. They be so itching to fit.
You talking to me, Aphrodite? You talking to me? But hold on. But I'm aware of that, right? Years ago, I became aware of that because I am one of those people that's like, oh yeah, cool. You can do this. We could try this. What about this? Come back and let me know how it worked out. Because it's like, I'm always thinking like 10 steps ahead with any type of situation. I love to try to problem solve. I love puzzles. I love stuff like that. So now what I do is when someone comes to me, I literally, whenever they stop and pause, I then say, okay, who do you need me to be in this moment? Do you need me to be just a listening friend, or are you wanting advice or suggestions or whatever? I kid you not. That's one of the first things that I say when anyone ever comes to me. If they don't make it clear up front, I then say, okay, who do you need me to be for you in this moment? And then I know what to do, because I'm problem solving just like that with no problem. But I'm aware of it. I had to work on that. And
see, Nrgy that person. So when I go to Nrgy, I'm like, Nrgy, I don't want Miss Fissy. Like, that's not what I want. Okay, you gonna let me vent. We're gonna be vulnerable. This is kind of time and moment, but don't be up there giving me 50 steps, 50-point question, or suggestion. Like, no.
Yes. I'm sorry, girl. Yeah. You gotta let me know. You have to let me know.
Part of it, I'm telling you. So something that I suggest with couples that I kind of came up with was sometimes whenever you go talk to your partner and you want to like talk to them about something serious, and sometimes whenever you talk to a person, they may not know what to provide you in that moment. Like they don't know. Like they don't know if you just want to talk. They don't know if you need a solution of any kind. I tell couples, like, when you first start that conversation, you have to start it off with a particular statement, which is, do you want to vent? Do you need a solution? Do you need support? Those three things. Like, do you want to
I can
vent?
see that.
Yeah. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is a lot of couples don't understand what to provide their partner in those moments. And the person that's talking automatically assumes that they should know what to provide them, because they may have been together for a long time, or they may have this routine going. But a lot of times people don't. I mean, they just don't. They don't know what to provide that person. Like, they don't. But if they use that method, right, like start a conversation with, do you want to, like, the person that wants to talk, come to that person, say, hey, I need to talk to you. I want to vent. I want to vent to you right quick. Or, can I talk to you right quick? I need some support on that. Or I'm talking to them, hey, I need a solution about something. Can you help me with it? If you start the conversation off like that, then you'll get the appropriate response every single time.
Yep.
Cuts out the middleman. Like, it does. It cuts out the middleman.
That's why I started my conversation with that particular person. I already know how they're gonna be. They're gonna be Nrgy. Want to fix me.
But honestly, that helps guys too. I'm telling you, that helps guys tremendously. Okay, because communication with some guys, right? Not all guys. Sometimes not the greatest when it comes to reciprocation, like what your partner may need from you.
They're talking about something, you be like, what is you talking about? Because that is not what I said.
Yeah, that's it, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you add what do they call them things? They call them in school the teacher's aids, like little aids in there in the conversation, right? Like, you had the little aids in there, then it's like, okay, there's not really an excuse for that conversation to not go the way that it should have gone, right? Like, there's not an excuse for that. Unless it's just their choice that it goes their way at that point, right? Because if you're using the aid and it's still not working out, you're just not trying to hear it. Like, you're just not trying to talk about that stuff. That's basically what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Telling you, works every time.
Okay? It sure does.
It works. Especially when it comes to like the vulnerability stuff, because the vulnerability stuff for just people in general, it's just hard. It's hard talking about stuff that is sensitive to you. Like, it's hard, and sometimes people can't get over the anxiety of that part. Like the anxiety that you feel about even approaching a particular subject. Like, Some people can't get past that point. Not even just to get the word out of your mouth. Like, you just even say it. And I encourage people to push past that part. Like, push past that feeling of not saying stuff. Because, go ahead.
You're right. You do need to push past it, because in my experience, what I've experienced with people is like, because they don't build all the vulnerability up and was not able to release it or didn't release it, like they just explode when it's time. Like it just come out. You be like, oh, you had all that time. Oh.
Yeah.
But then you'll get that facial expression, like with me, I know I'll be like, I know because I did it, and I was like, so you. Like, we're not even thinking. That's why you really have to think, too, when people are in a vulnerable moment. Like, just don't be quick to speak. Because I just, like, jacked that whole situation up. I was like, so you... Like, and they was like, but Aphrodite. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, I had to catch myself, but it was too late. And I had to apologize and all that kind of stuff. So, you know... I'm still a work in progress. So yeah, try to get that out. Don't let that be the vulnerability build up.
Mm-hmm.
Aphrodite said, help me to help you.
Listen.
Get that out over time.
Over time.
Not at one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you put it all on me at one time,
mm-hmm.
See. Yeah. And I know myself, and I'm still working. I really am.
Yeah.
That's right. We all are.
Everybody's a work in progress. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you, Josh, that's a great thing to let people know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is. Right. Once people realize they can utilize that tool, all they gotta do is just use it. Most people make that choice not to. Okay, I need you to know that. Okay, people make that choice not to use the tools that are provided. Okay.
So then they just choose to get the consequences behind it.
Consequences hurt, okay? Consequences hurt. Nobody likes consequences, okay? Nobody likes it, okay? But you know, that's part of communication in general. Basically, that's the communication. When you say communication, and I talk to people all day about communication, and people say, "Hey, I want to fix my communication with this person," but communication itself is so broad, right? Like it's so many aspects of communication. Like which part of communication would you like to fix with this person, right? Like what would you like to see different, right? Like what would you like to see better with this particular person, right? And then once you figure out what you would like to see better with this particular person, then you have to ask yourself, or they have to ask themselves, what is it about the communication that you're having with this person that is bothering you so much? Like, what is it that's bothering you so much? And you could say, hey, they don't want to open up and talk to me, right? And then you have to ask yourself, what would be the reasons why they don't want to open up and talk to me?
Yeah.
Right? Then you have to do some self-analysis there. Like, go back and say, let me think about it. Maybe it was that time I cussed them out. Like, maybe it was that time. Maybe that's the reason why they don't want to say nothing to me, right?
Maybe.
See, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, but most situations,
it could be. It could be.
I mean, why? Why that?
It was just that time, you know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, but most situations, it take that one good time to cut somebody out, and they be like, you know what?
Shut down, like Fort Knox.
Hey, Josh, why do I have to self-analyze?
Because okay, you have to self-analyze because it's a relationship. It's two people. Like you're forced to. It's a forced thing at that point, right? Because if you want to get along with another person, then everybody got to self-analyze how to figure out how to get along with that person.
But Josh, I just cussed them out one time. Hey.
I know, right? You can't take it back though. Like that cuss word is out there. You don't.
Why they just can't get over it, Josh?
You know how many times people try to get over something, they still not over it? It's like,
you know
the times I hear that all the time.
Just let it go.
People
Let it
over
go.
there, oh, let it go. Like, it's okay. Like, I let it go. How come you can't let it go?
Yeah.
You the one cussed me out. I gotta let it go.
Just, I bet you get that a lot. I bet you do.
That's so weird, right? It's like you got the person that cussed the other person out, and they wanting you to get over.
Right.
But you the one cussing them out.
Make it make sense?
It don't.
Yeah.
It don't. It doesn't make sense. It don't. But when you hear it, and then when you hear them say it, you just gotta watch, because it's like a TV show. You just gotta watch. Okay, it's like, does this make sense to say that, hey, I cursed you out, I did it repeatedly, but I want you to get over, right? Like, I want you to move past that because I'm over. What?
They use the word "you should forgive."
I understand forgiveness after maybe 1.5 times, but you doing it consecutively like 4 times.
You just speak on it. Tell the truth. They use that word forgive. I'm like, you really, you. That's like having a wound, right? And it's trying to heal, and then you just keep picking at it, like, do you think the wound is gonna heal? But you want me to get over it? And you don't cuss me out repeatedly? Or forgive? Okay, let's go. Your grace is over. Grace is done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in this conversation, this is where we took that left. You know what I'm saying? Like, we took it.
Yes.
We did.
But
okay? It was my fault. I took the left. Okay? Aphrodite followed me down that path. But it's okay. It's okay.
But we can all tie back to how the communication and not getting over it makes them not vulnerable to the person that they're with.
Yep, it does. It does. It's all a narrative, the storyline.
You brought it back around for you.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad I was not a part of that this week, because the last 2 weeks. Not this time.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I don't have any hair. So, I mean, it ain't like it's gonna get worse. Just like so it's fine. It's all right.
Really, Josh? Really?
What?
I tell you.
But that's the point about this this vulnerability question, is that there's so many ways where if a person wants to express how they feel, they can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have that option to just kind of express however you would like to express yourself. I think the main point to like expressing vulnerability is don't be afraid to do it. Like, don't be afraid to have the conversation with whomever you want to have that conversation with, because it's empowering to help, maybe the relationship, but it's more empowering to help you as an individual.
Right. I agree.
So, vulnerability. Great topic, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Me too.
Good.
Great episode. Another episode of Adding Perspective with Josh. I'm Josh.
Right. I was like, well, I'm Coach Nrgy.
I'm Aphrodite.
And we had a great episode.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Adding Perspective.
Yes.
Yes.